Daytona Super Champs Round 5. Lee Whitney and Gareth Baldwin on the front row of the starting grid for D-Max. Chris Monroe and Will Davison on the second row. Then it's Tom Angier and Callum O'Donnell on row 3 with Ollie Hood alongside Alex Bomberg. To round out the top 10 on row 5, it's Barry Weller alongside the talented Matthew Plum. Row 6 is Richard Snow beside Patrick Kelly in P12. And then we've got Philip Randall alongside Stuart Shearman. To round out the top 7 rows, Joe Williams is alongside Jason Bear. And then on row 9, it's Amari Alain alongside Felipe Nardo. Rounding out the grid for the D-Max category, it's Paul Julier and George Kenning. 30 kart RT8 drivers now. Justin Elliott is alongside Barry Morris on the front row of the starting grid. Row 2 is James Costin alongside Adam Thomas. And then to round out the top 6, it's Sam Cole in 5th and Charlie Fenton P6. Lewis Barton is alongside Dan Munro. And then rounding out the top 10, it's Murphy Aldridge and Kim Ely. Row 6 of the grid is William Trenor alongside Arnold McCauley. And then we have William Pemble alongside Charlie Pinkney. To round out the top 7 rows, Ollie Bishop is alongside Craig Nunez. And then on row 9, it's Brian Alexander alongside James Pedersen. At the back of the field this time, it's Leon McCauley. What a grid. This is going to be a very tough race, very wet, very greasy. At least the rain itself has actually stopped in time for the start. Whitney on the inside, Baldwin on the outside. Let's race at Daytona Milton Keynes. Through to the first corner. Who's going to have the advantage? Whitney's certainly got grip, but Baldwin's got traction, and Baldwin's going to head through into turn 2 and 3 with the advantage as the rest of the D-Max drivers tippy-toe their way through that first chicane. You can't afford to push too hard at this stage. Here come the Sodis, and it's getting very hectic through that first corner. Goodness me! Everybody already starting to bang side pods and swapping paint a little bit as they go through turns 2 and 3. Just a mild bit of contact, but they're all okay for the moment. So as they battle away, this is going to be a move from Fenton to the inside line. Thank you very much. And in the damp conditions, he gets through into the lead of Sodi Lights and in the Sodi category overall. There's the battle for third position. This is Ollie Hood having a little bit of a tussle with Chris Monroe, and that little squabble has given Matthew Plum the chance to close in, so he needs to be very careful to protect that inside line, Ollie Hood. And that looks to me as though Monroe is going to lose out. Is that Plum on the inside line making the move? He just can't quite get the overtaking move. Fantastic little tussle between these guys as the race continues through. And that is a bit of a battle tussle, and here comes Whitney trying to get the undercut on Baldwin side by side. And is he through? Yes, he's done it. So Whitney is through on Baldwin. Baldwin loses out, and Lee Whitney takes the lead. Crucial manoeuvre, and he can start to stretch away the gap. He needs to utilise this now. So there is a nice little battle as Sam Cole runs in third position in Sodi Lights. He's been very solid through this part of the season, and certainly in these conditions you can't afford to push too hard. You've just got to look after the metronomic rhythm and the pace of the kart. You've just got to be very smooth. Oh, and there's a spin. That's Callum O'Donnell. Callum O'Donnell goes around, and he does not look happy about it, shaking his head and banging the steering wheel. So he clearly feels that he was aided to the scene of the spin. As he comes through the final turn, he's trying to get back up to speed again. And as he comes through over the line, the back end stepping out, he is waving his arm. He is not happy at all, Callum O'Donnell. Goodness me. He is properly furious about that one. He's just got to get himself back together. We're on board with Gareth Baldwin. Now they're cutting their way through the traffic. It's very tough in the dry. In the wet, it's even harder, but he's getting very close indeed to Whitney. Whitney goes left. Takes himself round, cuts back in for the inside in the right, but there's not a lot of traction because that's the normal dry racing line. They'll be rubber down on that part of the course. Trying to cut their way through on the inside line, and both men are going a little bit wide. Oh, he's in the barriers! Oh, that's terrible luck for Gareth Baldwin. His chance of victory's gone. Oh, Gareth, just pushing a little bit too hard, and that is Cole going side by side with Murphy Aldridge as they battle. It's getting ever so close between the two of them. But that mistake from Baldwin gives Whitney the victory overall and in D-Max Heavies. Plum wins in D-Max Lights, Fenton in Sodis in the light category, and Elliott wins in Sodi Heavies. Brilliant racing. So let's take a look at what round 5 has done for both the race results and the standings in each of the categories. D-Max lights up first, of course. Matthew Plum 7.7 clear of Ollie Hood at the line, and that gives him a 5-point swing over Hood and an 8-point swing over Tom Angier in third. Bomberg ahead of Davison and Randall. Joe Williams is 7th ahead of Callum O'Donnell. Felipe Nardo in 9th and Amari Alain in 10th place. Just 16 points is the gap between Matthew Plum and Tom Angier now. Joe Williams is just 4 ahead of Philip Randall, and there's 11 between Ollie Hood and Alex Simmons, and another 4 points back is Will Davison. In the D-Max Heavies, Lee Whitney taking a crucial victory over Chris Munro, back to his best and back on his heels. 1.5 seconds away. Richard Snow, though, crucially in third position, 30 seconds away from Lee Whitney, and that really does give Whitney a big advantage in the standings. Patrick Kelly 4th ahead of Gareth Baldwin, Barry Weller, Stuart Shearman from Bear, Kenning and Julia. What does that do for the title? Well, Lee Whitney is 45 clear now of Richard Snow. Barry Weller is only 8 points adrift of Richard Snow, so he could still grab second in the point standings. Andy Fryer is just 9 ahead of Gareth Baldwin in their battle over 4th place. Stuart Shearman looks reasonably comfortable in 6th, but Jacob Lewis will not give him a moment's rest. Sodicar RT8 now, Charlie Fenton 14.5 ahead of Murphy Aldridge. That will extend his lead in the title race. Sam Cole and James Costin very close in their fight for third position. A great battle between those two. Lewis Barton a solid 5th ahead of Charlie Pinckney. From Dan Munro, Kim Ely, Adam Thomas and Ollie Bishop, with the latter 4 trailing in behind. Still scoring some decent points though for the standings. You can see that Charlie Fenton has now extended that gap to a solid 33 points over Murphy Aldridge. Ralph Lecky's just 2 behind him. Cole is a further 1 back, and Ollie Bishop is just 6 points adrift, with Thomas, Barton and Ely all still relatively close. So second place is still very much up for grabs in the Sodicar RT8 light standings. And in Sodicar RT8 Heavies, Justin Elliott nearly half a minute clear of Barry Morris. Fabulous result from him. Good to see that Morris and Arnold McCauley were very closely matched in their fight for second place. Brian Alexander in P4 and Leon McCauley still hanging on there in 5th position to bag some decent points. But what does that do to the Sodicar RT8 Heavies points tally? Well, for Barry Morris, it's looking comfortable enough. 23 points clear of Justin Elliott. Arnold McCauley there in P3, with Cummings and McCauley just a point apart, and Douglas Willingale is only 7 ahead of Brian Alexander and 8 ahead of John Donnelly. Anything could still happen of this 2020 Daytona Milton Keynes Super Champs title fight, and the battle is going to be tense to the end.